Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome to your next Android tutorial. And this video we're going to go over what's something called the service, which is another part of Android system. So we've done activities, fragments, the application object, menus, and the DB helper, or the SQLite Open helper, which is our helper class. Now when we get into doing the service is essentially, we're going to start by creating one. So we're going to say new class, and we're going to type in service, or Android service, and we're going to superclass the service object, or subclass. There you go, service, done, finish. Okay. So it gives us two methods here and a constructor. We don't really need that. We don't really need the onBind method. It's irrelevant for our uses. However, okay, the service needs onBind. That's kind of annoying. I was not aware of this, but we can deal with it. So, what is a service? Well, a service is essentially a background activity. It's a bit bizarre. But what you do is you start a service, and what this actually makes is that a service runs in the background. So you know, maybe the Gmail app is a good example, where it would periodically go off, check against the Gmail servers for emails, download them to your device in the background. So this is for running background tasks continuously on your device or in Android. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say cat override. It's our first thing we're going to need, and the override we're going to do is we're going to say public void, and oh no, it's public int actually, sorry, and it's on start command. Now you could use on start, but that's a depreciating method. Now of course the on start command, we're missing actually a bunch of arguments. So we'll go get those arguments now. So we're going to have the first parameter that's passed into a service is the intent that started the service, int the flags, and a second int called a start ID. Now you can call these whatever you like, but that's what are called. And then we have to add a return statement. Now the return is actually a certain value that modifies the start behavior. We'll get into that in a minute. So what happens when you when you start a service? What actually happens? Well, the service will start up in the background and execute a task. Now first thing, threading. The service runs on the main thread of the app, which means that if you have something running in the background, it's going to lock the device. That's bad. That's bad. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to make a modification, or not a modification, a change to this, and we're going to start a thread. Okay, so we're just going to say public, we're going to make a new thread down here actually, class, private we'll say, class I don't know, toaster. You'll see why we call it a toaster now in a minute. That really should have a capital letter. Toaster extends thread. And then we need our public void run method. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is we've done that, we've created our thread, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to make this pop up a toast message. We're going to say toast dot make text this Next will just be service running. And duration, we're going to get the constant toast.length short. That's right, we need to pass in a context. So I'm just going to quickly create a constructor. We don't have the context for this, so we're just going to say context. Context, and then we're just going to say public toaster. And we're just going to quickly do that. Okay, so essentially what we're just doing is we're very quickly creating a context for this. Kaboom. And then when we're going to start this now, actually we need to put in something else. We'll change this in a second, but anyway, we're going to have our service running. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in our context itself. Alright, we're going to start this thread and then and it should pop up a notification. In fact, I'm going to actually just open up our AVD. Start. Good. There we go. Yeah, that's booting up now nicely. So we're going to start this new thread. So we're going to say toaster. And we're going to say toast. We'll just call it pop up, I don't know. And then this is our context. Okay. Toaster.start. Okay, so we'll start our thread, and that should work. Ah yes, we never called .show. That has something to do with it. Kaboom! So this is still booting up. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to make a little change to this. This will just display a message as normal. So we're actually going to modify this, and we're going to make a while loop. While true. So as you know, that creates an infinite loop. Anyone who knows that will know. So just pop our toast in there. Job done. Then we're going to type in thread dot sleep, and we're going to make it sleep for 5 seconds. So the thread dot sleep will, now we have to put this with a try catch block. It's kind of annoying, but we've already done threading and that's sleeping already. So essentially what this is going to do is it's going to run, make a toast, sleep the thread for 5 milliseconds, so it'll relinquish those CPU cycles, start up again, run again and again and again. So essentially what we're doing here is we're just creating a loop here that'll run forever until we stop it. So that's that unlocked. So we're gonna we'll run. Actually, we need to now. How do you start a service? Good question. I'm gonna go to multi-threading. Okay. Now remember we have pause main thread, and that's our that's our file down here. So if we get our drawable, our layout, multi-threading, and our pause UI thread. So we're actually going to edit the string for this. Just take a quick look at the properties. So it's pause main thread is the string. So we've got values. You probably can't see this, but we'll open up the strings XML file. Yeah, so we're just going to say start service down here. Okay. Save. No bother. And we'll actually very quickly add a button that'll stop the service as well, because the service will run for infinity. That will. So I'll say stop service. Save. Get rid of that. We'll add a button in here. Form widgets. Just a quick button. Edit. Oh bugger. Edit text. Stop service. Done. And we're going to include the onClick property. OnClick equals, and then we'll just type stop service. And this will make that a capital. And we'll say this will be called start service. Save. And then if we just say, remember pause main thread, we're just going to change this service. And then we're just going to copy paste this and make a stop service. We need to get rid of this try catch nonsense. Okay, so how do we start a service? Well, you start it with almost the same way as you start an activity, with an intent. And new intent. Remember this. Now we need our service. It's called Android service. Service. Dot class. Job done. Now, how do we actually start the service itself? We have to use a call called start service and pass the intent into that. Okay. Or the internet, as I'm calling it for some reason. And we can copy and paste this into here, and to stop the service, you've probably guessed it, it's stop service intent. So this is going to start and stop our service. Now the last thing we need to do is, of course, add our service to the manifest. So I'm just going to here add service, and we need to wait for it to pop up. And it'll say, yeah, Android service. Save. Check the actual manifest. Where are you? There's service. Yep, job done. So now we've got our Android service registered in the manifest. So we're going to run this and see how it runs. And what should happen is it should pop up totes notifications every 5 seconds. Now I'm not 100% sure if this will work actually, because there may become an error here. Okay, yeah, there's an error. I think I'm trying to modify the UI thread. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a problem, but what we'll do is we'll just make this log. Okay, I know, just say service, and the message we'll log is right now running. Yep, so now that should work better. But what happened now is I was trying to modify the UI thread, I think. Yeah, I was trying to make something appear in the UI from a separate thread. Android goes, no, because that's not allowed. That's forbidden in Android's books. You never, ever, ever modify the UI thread. The UI from the secondary thread. I was ideally going to have a more practical thing popping up, but if we start the service, there we go. So if I drag this up, okay. Now you actually won't be able to see this for a little bit, but I'll zoom the video out and whoops, and you'll be able to see running at service running, and another one will appear now in a second. See? So that tells us that our service is now running correctly. So if we click stop service, well, it stopped. No doubt that. I think I misspelled something. Oh great, what happened now? There we go, I think I just misspelled that. Where's our logcat gone? What the hell's our logcat doing up there? As you can see, it's still running the service. But look at that, look, our service is still running even when the app shut off. Something else you'll be aware of, services run all the time. So if we reinstall the app, the service will naturally be stopped, and then you'll see that'll stop the service then by the stop service intent call. So that, guys, is services. There's another type of service called the intent service, which is a very useful service for fetching stuff from the internet. We'll do that in the future, but if I just press start service, yeah, so as you can see, look, we're getting our running hours appearing again. If I click stop service, it should stop. There we go. Now another one won't appear. Okay, they will appear, but that's how you do start and stop a service like that.